Hey, you guys! It's MJ. How are you? Hi, Kurt. How are you? Oh, that's brilliant hearing that you guys have had a nice day today. Now for me, it's 3 in the morning in the UK. So straight up, you guys, this is kind of weird. I'm doing something different because I'm actually live on Instagram right now. So this is the first time I've tried. So I've got my computer going live on YouTube with you guys, and like my phone is just right here, and I've got like a friend from Agnes with Love is here with us from Instagram. So, but I'm not sure if this is something I feel completely awesome with, because I feel like I'm either looking in Instagram or I'm looking at the YouTube or looking at the Instagram. Anywho, I digress. I want to talk about spiritual awakening, how that relates to this idea of a quantum leap, and you could relate that to a quantum leap in our evolution as a species, which to me, all of this idea of ascension, awakening, transformation, upliftment, rising up, all of this stuff simply has to do with us feeling better. This idea that, it's a Buddhist thing. Most of our major religions is really this idea of like, how do we feel optimal in these bodies? Well, we feel our heart and we honor our heart and we listen to the infinite intelligence of our bodies, and this is ultimately leading us into this quantum leap of our human potential via the understanding of how we are most effective. So we're most effective as balanced and loving human beings. We're more efficient, we're more productive, we're kinder, where that empathy is certainly yoked and worked on, which then sort of triggers this intuitive insight. And I call them the kind of intuitive ability and or psychic ability as well, right? Tape the phone to the laptop. Yeah, I could do that and have it kind of, quite close to it. So in such a way, I basically am saying that really this quantum leap in our human evolution is the spiritual awakening, the mass global paradigm shift, this mass global awakening is the quantum leap in our human evolution, which is it's like us merging with consciousness. It's instead of seeing ourselves as these lowly slaves, we rise into this like co-creative, innocent kind of quality, right? And that, again, that is a living miracle. So, and this is the share that I have to show up in my kind of routine with you guys that I've developed over these last few years of just waking up at these rather early mornings to share from the heart space whatever it is coming through as far as like spiritual but just life guidance for us traversing this path where we are in essence as a human consciousness transforming the reality that we perceive. We're having a mass shift in perspective. It's cosmic, it's divine, it's so beyond our sort of 3D conditioned mind that hence why are we doing all this internet stuff? Why do we share all this stuff? Why, it's not just so we can all make more money. It's not just so we can go back to the old world. No, we share because we're quite literally just moving into this kind of infinite unknown as far as this next story that we're going to tell as a collective, as a species on this planet, right? So we've been telling one story, and now a bunch of us are going, oh, that's kind of tough, or actually it feels like that story's going nowhere fast, or it feels like that story is all doom and gloom, and why do we have to be telling that story? And so we're kind of pioneers, storytellers. We're people who are going, wait a minute, can't we tell a story of hope? Can't we tell a story of promise? Can't we tell a story of unconditional love and pure potentiality and transformation? Because that's the essence of our nature. Like, that's actually the more aligned with the truth of our beingness, is this infinite, intelligent, regenerative, like totally at one with the entire cosmos. So we really do have access to the most advanced technology that we could possibly imagine. We have access to the highest joy that we could possibly imagine. And all we're doing here is like encouraging one another to be the joy, be the expression. And I'm not like that. Like, this is the point of kind of showing up like this, is like, for years when I was starting my yoga journey, or like yoga teaching career, I just showed up every day. I had these 7 a.m. classes, which I set up at a kind of community creative hub in Liverpool, called the Arts Organization. And at the time, it was so kind of derelict and run down. They just gave me the space for free. Like, they gave me a key and were like, yeah, you can just use it to do your yoga classes. So I got the space for free. And I just set up classes like Monday to Friday, every day at 7 a.m. And like, I don't know for how long I did that, but like for the longest time, I just had this one amazing guy who just turned up. And it, you know, as life unfolds in these miraculous ways, this was the same person who actually ended up funding my trip to India. So yes, so this whole, you know, showing up and being all to love, you guys. Let's just fucking love each other, please, please. Is this pioneering of the new wave, of the new sense of self and the new sense of worthiness and the new sense. I often, and this is my heart's like truth of like belongingness on this planet. I truly believe that we all just deserve to be fed and housed. Like, all of us, just in our essential aliveness, we deserve a home and food and clean water, and no human ever should have to labor for its existence on this planet. And that's a big part of the shift that Kurt and I talk about, as far as like debt-based economy, where humanity is enslaved to the almighty dollar, or a resource-based economy where nobody's a slave, everybody's provided for, and creativity in beauty and in love and higher consciousness is like the way of being. Now, in my awareness, part of our access point to that new earth, new paradigm, new way of being is via the emotional body. The system of control and domination, part of the ethic within that is that we're emotionless creatures. We're just robotic. We're really the best that we can do is like be really good worker bees. Just work really good. Just stop feeling stuff. Just work. Just use your body, time, and energy for this system, because it owns you. Otherwise, you don't belong here. That's kind of like the imprint that so many of us are carrying, is that I'm not allowed to be here. I don't deserve to be here. And that's ultimately what we are transforming, is that very deep core wound of undeservingness. Because, well, how are we going to survive on a planet that we just don't feel like we belong, right? So we're integrating and anchoring these new portals, these new energies, so that we can thrive and then lead the way for other, i.e. we stand down the corrupted energies that choose to be clever and cunning and continue to oppress people. We must lift the lid on that, which we're doing just by shining light and communicating on it, right? Word! Fifth world. Yeah, I'm getting the same. I'm definitely getting the same about, hey Mike, how are you? Money is the certificate of work. Yeah. That's part of the redefining, or mass redefining of even what the idea. So for me, the new paradigm definition of work is our service, i.e. like our joy, our presence, our beingness. And of course, some days that might look like 8 hours of gardening. Some days that might look like cleaning. I love cleaning myself en flow. But like, I love having a beautiful space. I want to keep things feeling good and looking good, right? And so we all want to kind of have that creative essence, but not the like gray that kind of, we want to uplift that, so that our work, i.e. our service, is like truly a benevolent grace, like the benevolent grace that comes through us as divine, relaxed, supported, loved, i.e. what could we create if we were all loving one another versus like hating on one another, being like, you need to do this for me. I don't know. I don't know. It's I'm further and further removed from it. And yet I get that feedback of like we're still working through a lot of energy. And I know for me, that's part of why I wanted to share this, was that I've totally surrendered into like this flow state over these last 3 years. And I'm still completely facing the unknown. And, or you could say like, it's like I'm just floating here in this empty unknown space going, okay. Like some days I cry a lot. Some days I feel really beautiful and in alignment. And yet there's nowhere to go back to. And I think that's part of really kind of like jumping into this joyful state and like not giving a ras about the circumstantial evidence of your life. But you just keep jumping. But then there's this truth in miraculousness. There's this like divine awareness in the unknown, and because we have this intellectual understanding, it's like, just trust. Okay. Like it's okay. And fairness, like the trust is true and it's there. Like I think, and this is where like I'll talk about my own book, because step one is can I even remember what step one is? Something about joy and gratitude and love. So it's like because I remember I danced most of my life and professionally as well. And like our dance teacher would always be like, you know, you got to go back to basics. You should be getting a sweat on just from doing your pliés, i.e. like the basic balletic, like stuff you learn in ballet when you're like 4 or 5. And then here we are at 15, 16, our teachers like, you're not warmed up. You should be sweating. You should be working hard just from doing the basics, right? I don't know where I was going with that. I think it's something to do with just like the discipline of joy, you know, like showing up to be joy every day, basically. I'm going to read some of your comments today. Hey, Gigi for Truth. Hey, Fifth World. What? TM, nice to be here. Brazen, you're so smart, my friend. Hey, you extend a lovely message. I'll extend it back to you. We're all reflections of one another. Mike, mega hot love bush. You're when you serve the higher divine in this social economic matrix. Yeah, that's what it feels like, which is where it's like increasingly like, because the more I've like my yoga career was a proper, so that was the last 7-year, 8-year cycle or 10-year cycle even. And that was like a discipline, healing, like super just like, but manifested, you know, I was consciously manifesting 10 years ago. And so now there's still the manifestation path, but there's just more of the unknown. So you're just like, okay, God, oh, gee whiz, like what now? And there's just this centeredness and this inner dialogue of trust. It's here, it's already done. And I'm like, great. And yet that's the foundational truth that one does feel. Those are a part of work, not the definition of it. My tribe right here. Hi, Fifth World. I love you guys so much. I feel like that's a comment from, yes, work is suffering. That's right. So what we don't work as like hard and suffering versus our work. It's like this idea of education being like, sit down, shut up, and memorize what we're telling you because that's the truth. You know, like that weird effing thing of like, this is the history. Shh. This is exactly how the world. Shh. No. This is how it is. And we just start like, okay, that's how it is. And like this awakening is all of us just going like, is it though? Like, who says? And if it is, like, whose story is that? And none of us are in denial. Like, I'm sure lots of those historical events have happened, but what else happened? Right? Like, what other part of our historical context could be missing that might bring our present day reality into a little bit broader perspective, which helps us have an understanding of ourselves. For example, having studied women's studies, most of us in our history classes and political theory classes and all that kind of stuff learned a very imbalanced perspective. One could also say a false perspective. One could also say false logic, because the last 2,000 years of our theoretical studying of this reality has been from a purely what one would say energetically a masculine perspective, i.e., let's pretend we don't feel anything at all. Shh! Cut out the feminine part of ourselves and just walk around the reality, the 3D reality, and pretend that we're not feeling, sensing, totally fucking magical, miraculous, cosmic beings. Let's just pretend that we're like lowly earth workers and that we're only here to be slaves. But this is not true. How do we know it's not true, my friends? Is because we're already talking and have already come up with the solution. It's called resource-based economy. High five, Kurt Mill! High five, Kurt Mill! But also high five to the pioneers like Jacques Fresco, the late Jacques Fresco, and the Venus Project, and Sasha with New Earth Project, and Humanitad University, and the other one, Peter Joseph. If you haven't watched Zeitgeist, you can learn a lot about what we're talking about from that documentary, which I think is like a 2-hour documentary. But then it will get you into Peter Joseph, who's a bit of a kind of in alignment with Jacques Fresco and pioneering real solutions to some of the global issues that we're facing as a collective, which is a lot to do with this weird. Oh, somebody mentioned this yesterday about, yes, so mass genocide, as it were, in our squeaky clean, lovely modern Western civilizations. So there is an aspect. This is also part of why I share what I share and come forward, is that a lot of our spiritual law of attraction or yoga, whatever channels, are sort of all squeaky clean, like rainbow happiness and butterflies. You guys just be love and light and think positive. And yet to me, that kind of icks me, because I'm like, yeah, but that's not us as a collective owning the totality. We have to be able as a species to actually look down into the darkest aspects of our humanity, i.e., we have to see the corruption. We have to be able to see that there's been a kind of corrupted elitist motherboard function here of divide and conquer, which has totally enslaved the large majority of our human brothers and sisters, including us. So we have to awaken to that dream spell. We have to kind of come alive and go, that is some fucking dark shit. We have to not be going, just be love and light, you guys. We can be love and light. We are pure fire, love and light. And yet we're living in this 3D reality where there's darkness there. And if we don't face it down with the light of our awareness, with the pureness, love that we are, we're just as bad as all of the ignorance that we proclaim to see. We're just as bad as all of the, oh, those people aren't in alignment, or, oh, those people do that. We're just as bad as all that, as long as we're still projecting out that the world is a shitty place, because it's not. The world is beautiful, but there's energetic, disowned, disempowered, enslaved energetic entity that we've externalized. So it's up to us as human beings to internalize it in as far as we can transform it from within the light of our awareness. And this is the practice, the new way of being, the paradigm shift in essence is within us. It's in us to go from this lowly, like, I'm a shit, have nothing, what's the point of living, whatever it might be, depressed, low, vibrational, competitive, jealous, resentful, all those low bass tones. It's up to us to recognize them, see them, and continually transform them. And I show up to share because it's fucking relentless every day. And I continue to do it. And I published the book, and I'm on this divinely guided path. And I'm still at this point where I'm like, why? What? Why are you asking? What are you asking from me? And it's like, just keep going. I'm like, okay. But the keeping going is also the fact that you guys are here. You guys are here. You guys are here with me. And that brings me joy. Hey, Rochelle! I just saw you there. You guys are just my favorite. This is actually like just my favorite time of day for Rizzles. I think that's it, you guys. I really appreciate some of the chat here. Yeah, I think April. April and some people sharing stuff, or that's fifth world. Yeah, you're in the pure light vibration. Nothing can touch you. But there is this sort of like smoke and mirrors interference, and I do res with that, and I'm really anchoring I'm really anchoring in to own it. Like pull it in and be like, you ain't got no power over this. You know. Hey Zigga Solar. Oh, hi! Kanamana Chia. Kanamana Chia is a really exciting movement happening as well. We've we've had we've had some Kanamana Chia energy here on the YouTube channel as well. It's helping us to essentially break out of the Gregorian calendar, the financial system, and then also rework the linguistics, rework some of the language of our spelling. Which I think we're intuitively doing, even like with the vibrashe. There's like these new creative tones coming out for us, and a lot more musical awareness. Even like John doing the 4-3-2, and those of us aware of. I'm getting something about the Schumann. I think maybe 5th or April. People have been talking about the Schumann resonance. So this is something to do with how we're vibrating in alignment with the planet, right? Which is obviously a big part of our own awakening. Right. Kurt Mill. Kurt Mill, I'm just going up from that. Hello, beauty and soul. I feel like you were Cameron from yesterday. I'm almost certain of it. Kurt Mill. So yeah, and I think that's what I've more recently been able to kind of outwork in my experience, and just being continually transforming this stuff in spiritual communities with so-called spiritual people, and then realizing that unless they're doing that inner work of expansion, they're actually still under the veil of control, domination, divide and conquer. They just call it spiritual. So the spiritual people are just better than the rest of the people in their privilege, right? And so they don't want to talk about the lowly people. They don't want to talk about the oppressed people. They don't want to talk about how they could be, a greater value. They just want people to bend to their rules and their game. So it's like and weirdly, it's no wonder it's kind of the part of the last like break freedom. Because in a weird way, in my experience, it's like the most insidious. Like the churches and these like spiritual communities trying to be like, I'll heal you, I'll protect you, come to me, I'll show you the way of God, and then we just give it blindly, right? And so that's what it irks me. I'm like, oh, it's like the most beautiful, shiny, like thing that a lot of us as seekers were kind of moving toward. And then we realize, oh, whoa, it's just more control and domination. And like, so I still have to know thyself. I have to find my truth to find my freedom. Right. And I think that's a big piece. We're one, we're friends, we're all to love here, right? The love bush, you guys, is all we've got. And that's the shift of the paradigm around like, I don't want to be a teacher or a guru. We all want to just love each other and support each other and help each other out, because we're all in this together. I'm pretty sure we're one humanity living on one planet, right? So it's like having these unity recognitions, which just help us to pioneer the innovation that allows us to live in greater unity in essence. Because let's be honest, if we continue to live in a war-torn, impoverished world, who the heck wants to be here? What, so we can just keep working for all the people who are oppressing us? Like, super fun, you guys. No, like that's shit for the majority. And in fact, in my deepest heart of love vibrashe, I'm like, that's shit for the elite as well. The grays, the elites, the entity, the energetic coding, which is like siphoning the light force from the Jedis. I'm like, guys, you guys can rise. I'm looking down to the lowly entity force. I'm like, you guys can rise too. You don't have to continue to steal from a blinded humanity, okay? Like, and it's like ever so kind. And that's something as well that I in my heart like found forgiveness for like even the people that we think are like the scariest, most demonic forces in the world, like pulling them into my energetic vortex and being like, God loves you too, okay? And like, i.e., for us to move into new paradigm, you have to find the inner grit, heart, love, vibrashe, the light of the fucking universe, the cosmos, to stand down whatever is perceived externally as the devil or demonic or evil or yeah, bad, lowly, whatever, anything that we come up against when we have to face it. Like I'm facing all of my deepest, darkest, dankest energies around the fear of the unknown, or the fear of having absolutely nothing at all, or the fear of like, what is love? And then being able to share it in transparency, right? And that's to me part of the whole liberation path, is that you just hit into your center, you're never going back. And that's been, something that I've been living now for 3 years, which is why I know I can't go back, because it's been too damn long. It's like I don't know how to re-enter that world anymore. I can only hold space for it and love it, and be the truth of my own knowing. And I think that's the point one has to get to. You have to get so much into your knowing that there is nothing else except the expression that your knowingness is in any given moment. Like yesterday was mostly in bed, sleeping a lot. Hence why I wake up at 1:30 in the morning some days, because oh yeah, I just like, and FYI, if you guys get a chance to go to my Instagram, which is simply all to love, you will see what I did. I did a little cheeky thing, you guys. That's my Instagram handle. Can I put thingies? I don't know. So on Instagram, you will see the video has a filter on it. You guys, the filter makes MJ look very shiny indeed. My God, Kurt Mill, that is actually fairly relevant to my day today. And yesterday. So yesterday, purging, TM, purge. So yesterday just said, and I'm like still sitting with it. I'm like, what is happening? I'm like, there's still, like, I'm still just day to day facing down the ancient density of existence, like in my body, in my beingness. I'm like, oh, when's it gonna lighten up? My God. But then you guys are making me be like, oh, thank God, it's all still, we're still purging, we're still clearing, we're still, i.e. Kurt Mill from Leo King. That's reminded me, I really like the Leo King and I just haven't seen him for a bit, but I'm going to tune in again. Yeah, taking a really good crap. Like, let's keep shitting it. Let's keep shitting it out of our bodies, right? Oh, Starseed. Oh, you guys, like, this is literally just our morning therapy. Because yeah, and isn't it fascinating how how the purges are different? Like, for all day yesterday for me was just, and in the mix of it, it's sometimes so just like a fog of just like. And yet thank God we're at this point where we're like, we're not gonna die, and we're not here to deny it. So I don't want to like, because my patterning with having grown up with a depressed mother, like who days and days would go by without getting out of bed kind of thing. So it's like, I have that imprint. And so days like the weekend for me, it was like, okay, I just want to like, I don't even think I went outside. Like I just went to sleep and then maybe got some food and then sleep. And I'm just sitting, and like so often I wrap myself back into sleep mode just to be like, cause I know I have to love her. I like cringe-tastic as I share this stuff, but it's the truth. I'll just lie there and like in my awareness field, like lean into all the self-hatred and the density and the fear of like, you're never gonna want to get out of bed ever again, and you're just a horrible life loser and all of this. And I'm like, I have a YouTube channel. I'm like, I'm still kind of working out life. It's just, it's like turning the tide where I'm like, life, I deserve for you to show up for me. I've been showing up for you. And now I deserve for you to show up for how I desire it as well. Not like, not bending, not kind of, not denying. It's like we can't go back to denial, right? Anything unnecessary, we purge. Yeah, I feel that. There's a bit purging, right? Oh, low battery. Hey, Essential Ascension, how are you, my friend? Or at least we try. Yeah, and then so I have that binary aspect with all this stuff as well. It's like we're not doing it, we are it, right? So, and because I've had this all along with my weird perspective throughout life, where it's like, am I living life or is life happening to me? Right? Is free will really is free will real, or is it just something we made up to simply bring ourselves back to divinity? Because I'm like, there's either the divine will or our little ego function will, which is like running around 3D reality trying to get ahead. Versus the divine will of the heart, which is like, let's just love each other and figure out how to live in peace on this planet. Like, there's nothing more important than that. I'm sure of it. I'm fucking sure of it. Because love, hot vibrashe. Because the love, like, heals the self and then heals other. And then I'm like, we can just be the Christ divine and live in peace and not have to, like, worry about Donald Trump and his bigotry. You know, we can just let him also deal with his karma. Namaste. Like, that is all. Free will is real, but humans are like sea turtles. They can use help, guidance from God and the goddess. Yes, yes. True. And that is what it's like, okay, and I guess for some of us the free will piece was just never really, I'm like, my free will is destroying me. I must align back with the divine, because clearly it knows fucking better than my little mind who's trying to fit into the world of destruction and control. You know, it's like we don't think of the vernacular. Nice, you guys, but we're just hanging out. Oh, thanks. I just got a private message from one of you guys. I'm just adding you guys. I just have messages coming through everywhere. Oh, ma. Oh, there she is. Wait, I have to go back. This is also, you guys, just what happens. Is like, I'm so excitable with you, but then as soon as I go off on the YouTube, I'm just like back in bed, like, no, that's not true. You know what is actually exciting? Do you know what I have? It's Monday. So I'm like, okay, after a weekend of like, low vibrashe, I've got to crack on with the editing of the vegan love. So I have like a whole bunch of amazing footage with super inspirational, badass entrepreneurs who are all about the zero waste and the vegan stuff. And just like, because I'm obviously biased to the veganism, all of them pretty much say really similar things. Like, a vegan diet, or certainly a dominant plant-based diet, has basically healed various like physical issues. Friday morning it was. So Earthburger, they just opened 4 weeks ago, and like they're trading, they're up, they're doing good. They have a really good kind of regular client customer base. So you know, these vegan businesses and whatnot are doing really good work, and all of them were like, see, I just went on and talked. Do you ever wonder if you will cause resistance from the urge to quit everything? Yeah, for sure. Hey, completely relate to this. Fantastic. I know. I really feel that we do relate. I've been able to isolate the particular chakra affecting that type of purge. Interesting. So this is part of this channel's sort of flow, I would say, is that we honor the fact that we're all unique and sovereign beings. And so it's really nice personal tools, but to remember that we all have this unique sort of essence, I guess you could say. So for example, like over the years, and it's been something that I was unconscious of and it's coming into consciousness for me, is that I have every once in a while really powerful activations in my solar plexus, which obviously has to do with my power, obviously has to do with my self-direction, but also filling my body up. And that's to do with this systematic imprinting of I'm as a woman, and this is again, this is just for some of us, it's not going to relate to all of us, but I have a subliminal or unconscious program that I'm not allowed to be here and I'm not allowed to take up space. So when my power gets active, I start to freak out. I have this massive like fear. It's like my tummy literally feels like it's expanding like a balloon. It's never going to stop expanding. I'm just like, ah, and it's super duper uncomfortable and it triggers all these other fucking social program fears. And then as soon as I anchor it, as soon as I ground into it, i.e., I can kind of soften my awareness and just be present with the feeling. I know that it's a charge. It's like a. So my practice when that happens is to start to move the energy up and down. So instead of allowing that energy to be concentrated here, i.e., like unconscious and just trying to bind it, I breathe into it. I move into my power and I let that energy kind of radiate through all of my chakra systems and or my central pillar of energy. And then I move it through into my hands, into my feet, into my mind, into my brain, and I let that power fill me up rather than it's uncomfortable. It's too big for me. I can't contain it. I'm not allowed to shine. I'm not allowed to be big. I'm not allowed to take up space. So now I'm reversing that flow, going, it's safe for me to be here. It's safe for me to be present. It's safe for me to be big. It's safe for me to take up space, right? So so yeah, there's a piece. I don't know if that's relevant, only because Mike said, I've been able to isolate particular chakra that's affecting the type of purge. So this is, I would say, well done for sharing, because this is us now linking in sort of tips, tools, and techniques that can help us eventually start to get a sense of balance within that emotional disparity and field. In my experience, once you've cleared, which is a pretty powerful heart activation, i.e., go through heartbreak, self-denial, self-betrayal. So those are some of the deepest cuts. Those are the core wounds, as I call them. Once we've penetrated enough of our field, and it could take years, there's a collective agreement being made. I think it's from fifth that there's a 2-year process. So in this accelerated phase, even though some of us have been undergoing it for decades, in this next wave of human souls awakening, we could say, and I'm getting even like 18 months to 2 years, 18 months to 2 years of relentless emotional purging. And then we can intuitively align ourselves with the higher self, which then gives us the download of how to effectively move energy rather than like constantly be healing and purging, right? Because at some point, hello, can we just enjoy this life? Can we just party in truth and love and consciousness and like be one with one another? I'm sure we can, and have it not be about some ego or bulls, right? Hey, Cosmic Christy, how are you? Hey, Cece! Assassin! Assassin! I didn't see you. I see Cosmic Christy, Kurt Mill, and then we zoom into Ferb's mind, and he's having the mind blowing. Mike, same. Thanks, Beauty and Diesel. Well, and I recognize that, right? So it's like, we all like all of our own, um, so all of our own suffering patterns, all of our density stuff is the gift. Like, and I recognize that all in the people that I work with, the people that have come to me like for coaching and stuff. It doesn't take long for them to realize, oh, because we hide it and then suddenly they start sharing it and they go, oh, this feels better. Oh, I'm attracting more yoga students, or I'm attracting more speaking gigs just because I'm being myself. Yeah. And then we tell our story, whether we're telling our story of anxiety, of fear, of whatever, but and that's obviously why I do what I do, because it's the transparency that I always felt, not always, but I often felt was missing in teachers that I came across. And I was like, well, that's lovely, but where's the real human? Where's the person who cries? And then I'd start to be like, wait, or is it just me? And like, is there going to be a day where I go, namaste, everybody? So I'm just always like this, a very calm and meditative person, except and I'm so into that emotional existence that I'm like, I don't think it ever goes away, and I'm not sure that we ever need to get rid of it. I just think we expand our awareness to the point that we accept it so much that my shitty days are just as valid as my awesome up days, right? I'm just not in judgment of myself anymore, and so the polarity doesn't trigger me. So it's not that we rise out of emotionality, it's the fact that we integrate it so it doesn't trigger us anymore. Does that make sense to everybody? Um so we're never looking for the escape. We're not looking to ever get to this point of completion, because then our soul would be dead. We would not be in existence. As long as we're in essence in vibrational existence, we are alive. We are the life force. We are the aliveness, right? And us perceiving and choosing a perception of reality is the divinity that we are, right? And this is why we share, and this is why we show up, because it's like, oh my God, could this be true, you guys? Is this the way it actually works? Oh my God. And we just have to keep going, because there's a lot of distraction out there, right? Tesla. Where's CC? Hi, David. Oh, CC. I was thinking sweet CC, my bad, but I'm looking at Cosmic Christie. La 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 la. Thank you guys. Right, Kurt Mill, right. And I think this is where we're moving to with the just with our expansion, with our cosmic evolution. What's the title here? With the quantum leap in this thing that we call spiritual awakening, right? Beauty. So that's pretty much it, eh? That's like exactly it. Hey, Cosmic Christie, Sweet CC is my sister. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Because we're all sisters. That's the thing, is the resonance connection is undeniable, right? Like, it really doesn't matter if we've met in the person, because we just know the like soul essence. We know these signatures for some miraculous reason. We know what we're talking about. It's like my new friend who's like, yay, we finally have friends where we understand what one another is talking about, when we're not like trying to manipulate each other, right? Hey, have you guys do this with me already? But when I'm on these shares, sometimes I like ask you questions. Not that you like have to do it, but I ask you questions, and sometimes I'll ask about a thing, and I'm kind of inquiring like more expansion around that thought form from this selfishly. But if you're so inspired to then like share more with me, then I would be really happy. David, to hear about. So David's question or comment is, I think we're being affected by the Mandela effect. Tell me about that, because in my awareness, we are the Mandela. We are the Mandela. We are the total. We are the one. We are the one circle of being, right? Ashley! Look! Hey, you guys! So this is a new thing that I'm trying out now. I've been live on YouTube for 40. Oh, I just saw 4. Just saw 44. So I've been live on YouTube, and now I'm live on Insta. And what I did was do the same thing, except Instagram has a filter, so I look much more gorgeous and shiny on Instagram. Starseed. Yeah, fifth. So my awareness feels like all the timelines are merging into one. In some of the energies throughout the day, like I can't, like I just want to sleep. I'm just sleeping and or but like I'm literally in my own like but all of every single timeline ever existed, every single life essence, everything that's outside is like being pulled in and I'm just like holding the space in my body. The cells of my body are being transformed, it feels like.